Hello, BookTube. Recently, I was watching the great BookTube channel Sailing Through Books, and she made a original tag called The Case for Humanity. It's a great tag, and you should do it. And her answers are quite interesting too. However, this video, I'm not going to answer the questions she created. I'm going to start a contention against the concept of the tag itself. So the concept of the tag is, imagine that you have to gather things that humanity has done and present to aliens to make a case for humanity. And she talks about what she would give, what kind of literature she would give to the aliens, the music, the painting she would present the aliens to make a case for humanity. All of her answers are good answers. However, there is a problem. All of those things make no case for humanity at all. Because if you are going to define something, let's say you are going to define what an elephant is, right? Let's think about elephants. What you would do is that you would define what an elephant is by what's most common for elephants. It makes absolutely no sense to define elephants by something weird and unprecedented that one in every 50 million elephants do. If you use that to define an elephant, everyone will look at you like, no, that doesn't define an elephant. And if you are going to make a case for elephants and you take that weird thing that happens once in every 50 million elephants, no one will be like, yeah, that's a case for elephants. No, that has nothing to do with a case for elephants. If you are going to define an elephant and make a case for elephants, you need to take what's average. What's you plot a Gaussian curve and you take what's in the middle, maybe one standard deviation by the left and by the right, and that's how you define elephants, and you use that to make a case for the elephants. So if you're going to take Shakespeare, Moby Dick, Borges, which are writers she mentions in her video, that doesn't make a case for humanity. Most of humanity absolutely hates that, wants nothing to do with that. She's not making a case for humanity. She's like making a case for something that runs parallel to humanity, and that exists not because of humanity, but in spite of humanity. And this parallel thing, this parallel humanity, is something that actual humanity wants nothing to do with. So you are not making a case for humanity when you give aliens Shakespeare. You are making a case for this parallel humanity that exists in spite of humanity. So let's say you meet the aliens and you give them. She mentions Moby Dick. Here's my Moby Dick copy. It's one of my favorite books of all time. And she also mentions Shakespeare. Here's my complete works of Shakespeare. And she mentions Borges. I don't have Borges over here. Let's say you give that to humanity. That was given to humanity, and humanity rejected it. You give that to aliens, and then the aliens go away, and then, oh, this is actually really good. This is actually really good. Like, no, yeah, you made the case. You made the case, and then the aliens discover the apocalypse happened on Earth, and they're like, okay, they made a really good case for humanity, so we have to go back and save what we can of the people from that planet. And then they come back and they save randomly people from the planet. When you take a random sample of of a population, the more you take samples, the more your data will approach the average. So let's say they saved what they could of human. They saved 100,000 people, and they're like, okay, we saved you because someone else made a case for you, like, I don't know, a long time ago, and now you don't have to be sad because you lost the things that are important to you. We have the things that are important to you. Here we have the complete works of Shakespeare, and most people, the majority of the 100,000 people the aliens managed to save would be, we don't want that. Like, what? We don't want shake. What? No, that's the thing that dorks like, nerds. We don't, no, we don't want that. We want like a stupid, so meaningless soap opera. We want the newest TikTok dancing videos. We want crap pop music that wasn't made by AI but was made by middle-aged corporate, which is basically AI. We want that. What you have here, Shakespeare and Moby Dick, doesn't represent us at all. Well, who gave what? No, we don't want that. And if the aliens just give the people, the 100,000 people that, the people would hate. They would be extremely bored. They would not want it. And they would curse the aliens for only giving them Moby Dick and Shakespeare. They would curse the people who gave the aliens Moby Dick and Shakespeare, but not the newest meaningless pop song and the newest TikTok trend. So yeah, you are not making a case for humanity at all. And if you grew up liking those things, it's I'm going to talk about my own experience. As for example, a teenager. When I was a teenager, by liking Shakespeare was a reason to be ostracized by humanity, to be ostracized and to be psychologically tortured by humanity, by the average, which is what represents and defines humanity. So like when I was 15, 16, reading Shakespeare would get me, would make everyone bully me and literally calling me faggot, a ostracized faggot. How is that a case for humanity? It has nothing to do with humanity. It has something to do with a parallel humanity that exists in spite of humanity, and that humanity wants nothing to do with. Yeah, that's what I had to say. Thank you, BookTube.